Every year, millions of Australians pack stadiums, paint their faces in team colours and passionately follow a sport found almost nowhere else on earth. But Australian rules football wasn't created by a sporting committee or a government decree. It emerged from a strange mix of colonial ambition, schoolboy games, and one determined cricketer searching for a way to stay fit during winter. The result would become Australia's most beloved sporting invention. Our story begins in Melbourne during the 1850s. The city was booming from the Victorian gold rush. Streets that had been dusty tracks only years earlier were filling with grand buildings, horse-drawn carriages, and thousands of new arrivals seeking fortune. Among the excitement was a growing sporting culture. Cricket had become enormously popular, but there was a problem. During winter, players had few organised activities to maintain their fitness. Melbourne's wide open parklands and paddocks offered plenty of space, but no uniquely Australian game yet existed to fill it. That was about to change. The central figure in this story was a talented cricketer named Tom Wills. Born in New South Wales in 1835, Wills spent much of his youth at boarding school in England, where he played rugby-style football. When he returned to Australia, he became one of the colony's most celebrated sportsmen. In July 1858, Wills published a letter in Melbourne newspapers calling for the formation of football clubs and organised matches. His idea: create a winter sport that would keep cricketers fit. Only weeks later, one of the most famous games in Australian sporting history took place. On the 7th of August, 1858, Melbourne Grammar School and Scotch College met in the rough paddocks of Richmond. There were no goalposts, no uniforms, and no fixed field dimensions. Players chased, kicked, and wrestled for hours beneath cold winter skies. The match stretched across 3 Saturdays before finally ending in a draw. Yet something remarkable had begun. The following year, on the 17th of May, 1859, 4 men gathered at Melbourne's Parade Hotel near the edge of the city. Tom Wills, William Hammersley, James Thompson, and Thomas Smith sat together to create a formal set of football rules. Unlike rugby, players could not throw the ball forward. Unlike soccer, handling the ball was allowed. The game would encourage long kicking and open movement across large Australian fields. One unusual feature soon emerged. Players who caught the ball directly from a kick were awarded a free kick. The term used was a mark, believed by many historians to come from the practice of marking the spot where the catch was taken. The game spread rapidly. Crowds gathered around dusty suburban grounds. The sharp crack of leather footballs echoed through Melbourne's parklands. Players wore little protective equipment and often left matches bruised and blooded. There is even ongoing debate about whether Indigenous football traditions influenced the game's development. Tom Wills spent part of his childhood among Aboriginal communities in Western Victoria and may have witnessed games such as Mangrook. While historians continue to debate the extent of that influence, the possibility remains one of the most fascinating mysteries in Australian sporting history. By the 1870s, clubs were forming across Victoria. What began as a fitness exercise had evolved into a sporting phenomenon. Today, Australian rules football is followed by millions and played in some of the largest stadiums in the world. Yet its birthplace was not a grand arena. It was a collection of muddy paddocks, public parks, and hotel meeting rooms in colonial Melbourne. The rules created in 1859 still form the foundation of the modern game. Every spectacular mark, booming kick, and packed grandstand can trace its origins back to those early pioneers. More than 160 years later, Australian rules football remains one of Australia's greatest cultural creations. A game born from imagination, necessity, and a uniquely Australian spirit continues to captivate the nation. And it all began with a simple question asked in a Melbourne winter. If you enjoyed this story and would like to see more forgotten, unusual, and fascinating chapters of Australian history, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. New videos are released regularly, exploring the places, people, and events that help shape Australia, often hiding in plain sight. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next story.